night, bro. So I went last night to It's Probably Nothing, the first live show by Jesse Michaels and Chris Ramsay. Legends. They did a live thing yesterday in downtown Austin, Texas at the Paramount. And it was amazing. It was an epic night. Well done and a great show. And it was very cool. Came out, rock stars, 1,100 fans cheering. they were definitely taking it all in. You can see that they were very excited. And I was wondering how it's going to go. If they're going to be like more nervous to be in front of people. But they were funny. They were slick. They were confident. And they're very intelligent. They're so smart. Both of these people are just very intelligent in a little different ways. But still, like the dynamic was great. They started with questions for each other. So they brought this Austin guy, Russ, I think his name was, to the stage, interviewed him about his story, which was very cool. I said he was with his dog walking in South Congress. And then all of a sudden he heard this buzz and this red flying saucer disc thing just hovered right in front of him. And he's like frozen. The dog didn't move. And he was just standing there like that. And, he didn't take pictures because he was in fight or flight mode. Like he thought, fuck, I might die. My dog might die right now. So that's a crazy story, and that's where I live in Austin. So it's cool to know that there's some shit here too. And then they brought UAP Gerb. Oh, I mean, that fucking guy. I mean, I am a decently intelligent person, I think. Not a genius, but got some brain cells. And when I listen to his videos, I feel like I'm a stupid person in the world. I can understand all this acronym. Blah, blah. CIA, DIA, IA, AB, F. Fucking hell, bro. Jesus, slow down. Because what you're doing is so fucking interesting. Like, it's the most interesting, probably one of the more interesting parts about this whole phenomenon, the legacy program. And you know all of it, but I can't understand what the fuck you're saying, bro. Like, but anyway, so he went on stage and immediately people started screaming at him, talk slow, talk slow. And they actually had a really great conversation. And he dropped probably the biggest thing that blew me away that I had no fucking idea about this. If I understood correctly, and maybe I didn't because he was talking fast and it's like my second language. But if I remember correctly, UAP Gerb said yesterday on stage that the Louis Elizondo program, AATIP, was not a thing. It was not real. It was fake. It's because it was like a branch of the legacy program that were put inside the Pentagon with the intention to make Hillary Clinton the disclosure president. If I butchered what he said, I'm sorry. That's what I understood. And I'm like, what in the fucking fuck, bro? What in the fucking fuck? Louis Elizondo is an actor? He's not real? Like, all this, I left the job because I couldn't take it anymore. I love my country, and my country and the people come before so I'm going to quit my job and give up my pension. I read the book. My heart broke. Fucking broke for you, Lou. Oh my God. And now UAP Gerb, I think, says on stage that the whole thing's fucking fake. Huh? Psy-Op. But maybe I misunderstood completely. So forgive me if that's the case. But that was cool. And then probably the highlight of the show for a lot of people, they explained to us why they took away our phones and they brought down the screen and we got to see the trailer, the official trailer for Bob Lazar S4, the movie by Luigi. I don't remember his fucking last name. That guy. And it was fucking awesome. Everybody had goosebumps. It's one of those trailers that makes you want to like get up and say, fuck yeah, as soon as they finish showing it. It was badass. It looks so real. And they do like, you see young Bob Lazar like done with AI pretty good. And then they fucking bring them on stage, Bob Lazar and Luigi. And then people lost their shit. Like when they saw Bob Lazar, people lost their shit. Everybody stood up and cheered for like minutes. He got like a standing ovation of minutes before Chris was like, all right, people, settle down. Like enough. And women were screaming at him like, I love you, Bob. It was great. And he was very embarrassed, kind of like red faced, but he was smiling. He was obviously enjoying the attention, but kind of like embarrassed about it. And then they sat down for an interview, and the interview was with Bob Lazar, I gotta say, was kind of weird. Like, the main takeaway from this whole segment is that Bob said it and Luigi said it, and they all said it on stage. They really went to an insane level of recreating Area 51 and S4, like to the detail of napkins and vending machines that were there and served these kind of snacks, and the way that the coffee cups, the way they look, like they recreated everything. And they asked him how he reacted when he saw the movie. And he said besides doing Zoom with Luigi, he wasn't really on set or involved too much. So when he saw it first, he said he was in complete awe and shock and amazement. It's not like you see what it was like there. You're there. You're there. When you see that movie, you are with him in fucking S4 Area 51. Which, come on, bro. How fucking cool is that? Right? Like, that's because, I mean, they've done a great movie about Bob Lazar. Jeremy Corbell, who, by the way, was in the audience yesterday. He did an amazing movie on Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Netflix. So one would think, well, what is there to do new? Like, you know, the story's been told but amazing movie, by the way. But that's what's new. They're recreating S4. Will actually all of us get to see what it was like to work and to be in a place where they're fucking working on a flying saucer, on alien technology. Like, what? It kind of makes it more real. It's another level of making you understand that it's real. And this is not just some like, oh, okay, it's a fun hobby. Aliens, UFOs. No, fucking bro, it's real. Like, there's our aliens, and the United States government they have alien crafts and beings. They fucking have them. What? That's insane, bro. Insane. Anyway, so that was cool. And, you know, they were talking about the trailer, and they were talking about why the movie was supposed to be released in 2025. Long story short, they have a deal. The movie's going to be released. It's happening. We're going to see it very soon. And it's going to be fucking epic. The only maybe weird part in the interview was it was very hard to light inside the craft. Like when Bob Lazar was working on these crafts, when they had to go inside, even the body of lights that they were, flashlights, whatever they were putting in there, got into the craft, it was still not making light. Like, it was dark. It's because the way of the craft is built inside. That's fucking cool detail, right? Like, why make that shit up? Like, who would have think about, oh, in order to trick them, I'm going to tell them how when you put lights inside the craft and it doesn't lit, like there's not enough light. It's still dark. It's fucking weird. Or maybe it's just a very sophisticated Psy-Op. I don't know. Anyway, that was cool. A little weird moment was when Chris asked Bob Lazar to give like one detail of those little things that nobody thinks about, like cups, like vending machines, the kind of drinks that they drank there. And if he can give an example of something like that, when he saw the movie and he was like, oh my God, that's what we had there. And he couldn't answer. He couldn't answer. He was like, I don't know. It's not really the details. It's the craft and the laboratory. And Luigi was trying to help him. He's like, no, remember I showed you the cups? And you were like, oh, these are the cups that we had. And Bob was like looking at him weird. And I was like, did I just feel a little scratch in the record? Like, was it just me that felt that in that moment? Or I don't know. I kind of felt like everybody in the audience felt that little awkwardness, but they kind of, Chris and Jesse were smooth enough to kind of like smoosh it away and keep rolling on, and you forget. But I gotta tell you, I think it was a little weird that he couldn't think about any detail, specific detail that like a cup or anyway, just saying. So that was that. And what was the last? Oh, they took questions from the audience. And the way it went, so the people who bought VIP tickets, me included, had to do a meet and greet with them, take a picture. And then they gave us QR codes. And when you scan them, you go to this website and you can submit a question to Jesse and Chris. And the first question that he was asked by one of the audience, he just picked a few that he liked, was if there was anything that they were believing in strongly And in the last year, they changed their mind on it. And Jesse took it first, and it was really interesting that people remembered his episode about the Nazca mummies. And he said, I used to think that there's a chance that it's real, but now I think it's probably fake. New evidence come to light, and I think it's probably fake. And people are like, oh, gasping. Like, so that was interesting. And then they say the name, and I'm not going to say the name because it's my girlfriend, Kay from row B3. What the fuck is up with Tim Taylor? That was the question. So they were both laughing. Obviously, it wasn't my girlfriend. It was my question. My question that I submitted that they didn't take was if they think that disclosure is up to us humans or our sponsors. They're gonna decide if it's disclosure or no disclosure. I mean, do we really think that? Come on, they're in charge. What the fuck, bro? They're in charge. You think really it's up to Trump to do disclosure? If they wanted to be disclosed, they would disclose themselves. They don't want it, and therefore it's not happening. I don't think it's up to us. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my question. They didn't take it, but they did take the what the fuck is up with Tim Taylor. And Jesse went over Tim Taylor and about like how fucking weird he is, what he does for NASA. Well, I'm not gonna get into who's Tim Taylor. If you don't know, bro, then fucking go check it out or read American Cosmic by Diana Pasulka, and you'll be blown away by fucking Tim Taylor. But what was interesting, a scoop that not a scoop, but a new understanding that's very interesting came from that question because Chris and Jesse did an interview with Charles Hall, who wrote a series of books, The Millennial Hospitality. For those of you who don't know, he was a Air Force guy in the 60s, I believe. He was a weather dude. And Nellis Air Force Base near it in the desert, he encountered a community of tall whites, aliens from a different planet. And he interacted with them and lived with them for a couple of years. And that was the series of books that he wrote about it. And of course, when you hear a story like that, it's so crazy and so detailed and like, what the fuck, that cannot be real. How is that even possible to be real? But they shared that when they did the interview with Charles Hall, he talks a lot and he talks a lot very fast and he didn't stop for like 5 hours. And they're like, oh, bro, like we're dying here. Like this is brutal. But then at the end, Jesse asked Charles Hall if he knows Tim Taylor, and Charles Hall's wife was there, jumped and said, oh, Timothy? You're talking about my good friend Timothy? And it seems that Tim Taylor and a bunch of his other friends who are also very deep in the intelligence community would come and do these long dinners with Charles Hall. He was like their friend and hang out with them and do dinners. And Chris Ramsay pointed out that why would Tim Taylor, who's infamous for visiting and hanging out with all these mega super experiencers like Chris Bledsoe and Whitley Strieber, why will he waste time to do these long dinners with Charles Hall if Charles Hall's story is not real? Why would he even bother? So that's really interesting connection that Chris Ramsay did. And I have to agree. Also, Chris Ramsay asked Whitley Strieber to reach out to Tim Taylor, asked him if he'll do the podcast. And Whitley told Chris, he's not going to do it. There's no point. It's like, please reach out to him. So I'll reach out, but he's not going to do it. That's Whitley Strieber telling Chris Ramsay. And then he followed up a couple of days ago and Whitley Strieber told, yeah, he's ghosting me. Like, so Tim Taylor is not looking for fame. He's not looking for doing the rounds in the podcast and write a book. He stays in the shadows. So why would he go and hang out with Charles Hall, who is not the easiest person to hang out with? Okay. He's a bit autistic. He talks very fast, doesn't stop talking. So very interesting. So I'm glad I put in my girlfriend's QR code that question. That's my question. So yeah, that made me happy. Yeah. And then it was just goodbye. So that was the night. It was a very, very fun event. I'm still pumped. I'm still vibing high, thinking about all of this and also getting to meet them and take pictures. So it's probably nothing. Chris Ramsay and Jesse Michels, and definitely like if you're in Montreal, go. It's going to be super fun. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different, but you're not going to regret it. And it's also always fun to be around 1,100 people and they're all like you. And when you ask them if they're more nuts and bolts or on the spiritual side, they don't like, huh? And they get you. So, that's always fun. All right. Yeah, go to my fucking YouTube channel. It's fucking aliens, bro. And subscribe, like, share, you know the drill. All right.